Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Raw review for the 12th of April 2021. And I'll be honest and say this is the worst post Mania Raw I have seen in at least 10 years because while there's good stuff that happened on it, the storylines went back to pre WrestleMania things. So basically, what that means is about 2 or 3 times a year, you'll get relevant shows, and then for the rest, we go back to complete drivel. Show recap begins. Raw kicks off with footage from earlier today. Bobby Lashley and MVP are arriving at the building. He greets some wrestlers, signed an autograph for some random fan. Riddle rolls up on his scooter, challenged Lashley to a match. Lashley notes that he got beat up by Sheamus last night. Lashley said he's only there to address the fans. Riddle basically cuts an incoherent promo about Lashley claiming to give opportunities. Lashley's getting annoyed with all this, shoves Riddle. Lashley says that there are winners and losers, and he's going to show Riddle the difference between the two tonight. Adam Vicks, Adrian Adonvic, or something like that, new announcer guy. Corey Graves and Saxton are the announcers. Verk said tonight would be a thrill of a lifetime. There's a women's title rematch as Rhea Ripley and Asuka will go at it at some point. We open with WWE Champion Bobby Lashley with MVP defeating Riddle in a non-title match in just under 10.5 minutes. Lashley attacks Riddle during the entrance as he rode to the ring on the scooter. Lashley tosses him around ringside and drives him into the post. Lashley sends Riddle into the ring. Match starts. Lashley takes control immediately and hits a delayed vertical suplex. Riddle tries to fight back, but Lashley slams him and sends him into the barricade on the outside. We go to commercial. We return after Lashley has hit a flatliner. Lashley continues beating on the announcers. Continues the beating, and the announcers kind of wonder what the heck Riddle needs to do to get things going back his way. Riddle comes back with a few strikes. Lashley gets nailed with a knee strike, but misses the floating bro. Lashley puts him in the hurt lock for the submission win. So you have a real-life fighter against another real-life fighter, and there's a submission win. So obviously this means Riddle's never going to be something useful in terms of long-term planning for the company. Good to know. There's a random graphic plugging Maurice, which is Ms. Wife's, on Ms. TV sometime tonight. So basically we're going back to old people because we don't know how to get new people over. Again, good to know. Kevin Patrick interviews Rhea Ripley. She says she has enough confidence to challenge Asuka on her first night as champion. And then she says her reign, it was the brutal world order, and she's ready for Asuka. This felt forced, it felt scripted, and it was a major departure from the promos that men and women can do when forced to by, elements like the reign over WrestleMania weekend. Viking Raiders return. This is one of the good things on Raw. They defeated Cedric Alexander and Sheldon Benjamin in 5.5 minutes. This is not so good, to the point where Alexander and Benjamin didn't even get an entrance. Benjamin hits a knee strike, allowing him and his partner to take control. Benjamin hits an angle slam for a near fall. Eric comes back with a knee strike on Alexander. Ivar comes in and beats away on Benjamin, hits shoulder tackles across body and a seated senton. Ivar knocked down both opponents. Eric tags in. Raiders hit the Viking experience for a win. This was fun, and I hope this means there will be future tag team stuff here. Patrick interviews Asuka. She told Ripley the fight last night, but tonight was her turn. Losing into Nightmare, but she's ready. Ripley would once again become a former champion. Asuka is, in fact, ready to go. Charlotte Flair promo. This isn't so bad. Verk mentions that there are rumors that she was unhappy to be off WrestleMania. Well, duh. Charlotte waits till someone opens the ropes for her. The camera guy eventually complies with her demand. Charlotte said she wasn't welcome at WrestleMania. People told her it's not the big deal because she's already on fire. She said that's unacceptable and she is upset with this. She said it wasn't her fault that Asuka needed a new tag partner, that Ric Flair made a jerk of himself on Legends Night, or that Lacey Evans got pregnant, meaning she couldn't beat her up. Charlotte then names every woman who was at Mania over the weekend and said that none of them compare to her. I agree with this, except for maybe Bayley and Sasha, and at this point Bianca Belair, but the majority, she is correct. Charlotte says she doesn't steal opportunity. She is the opportunity. She isn't going to apologize for being good at what she does and being a 13-time champion. Is it really that many? That's just scary with the length of her career. She's demanded respect and tells Ripley and Asuka to enjoy their match she should be in. Drops the mic. This is pretty cool, actually. Raw Women's Championship match. Rhea Ripley and Asuka ended in a DQ at just under 12 minutes. Ripley's in control and sends Asuka out of the ring with a dropkick. Leads to a break 2 minutes into the match. We don't know how to time breaks. We still haven't learned. Ripley cuts off Asuka with a clothesline. Asuka comes back with some kicks and a dropkick and a German suplex. And then a sliding knee for near fall. Asuka misses a flying dropkick, but Ripley applies a standing cloverleaf. Asuka gets a rope break, and Ripley gets a near fall. They mess up a couple more spots because probably Ripley's nervous with so much pressure on her shoulders winning the champion. Ripley tries to get Asuka up in the electric chair position, but kind of falls over. Ripley hits a Samoan drop, but Asuka covers Ripley after it, proving that they were out of sync. There's a near fall here. Asuka gives Ripley a DDT on the apron. Charlotte attacks for the DQ. Charlotte lays them both out and makes fun of them. Miz and Morrison are running through the back. They're in a happy mood. Miz greeted Maurice. Morrison wondered what she's doing there. Miz says she's the guest on Miz TV, and Morrison seems out of the loop. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax are back watching a replay of Mandy Rose slipping and falling during her entrance at Mania, because we need to make fun of people for, real life stuff. They're amused by this. Rose jumps in. Jax tells Baszler she can handle it alone. Baszler leaves. Rose admits that she's embarrassed, but also she finds this funny because she has a sense of humor about herself. She said it was funny when things happen that you didn't expect. Rose and Brooke attack Jax and leaves her laying. So Jax looks good with Tamina yesterday, and we lay her out today. This makes a whole lot of sense. Alexa Bliss does a incoherent playground promo where she said she's become powerful enough to handle life on her own. She doesn't need Bray Wyatt anymore. She also has a new friend named Lily, who's a puppet with pigtails. Segment ends with a CGI graphic of the puppet. This is horrible. Anyway, speaking of horrible, more of it. Miz TV with his guest and wife Maurice. Miz says he's still the most must-see superstar in WWE. Maurice is there to plug the show, which follows Raw, which virtually no one cares about. Morrison then thought they should have a spin-off show with him involved. Miz doesn't seem to support the idea, so eventually we're going to get Miz versus Morrison somewhere down the road because it's more telegraphed than, fat people liking cake. Anyway, Miz says that they made Bad Bunny into a superstar. I don't know to who. Giving Morrison a Falcon Arrow and wiping them out with a dive. Miz says that Bad Bunny would have been a flop without them. So basically, he's making all of wrestling look goofy. Damian Priest interrupts. He doesn't want to take credit for Bad Bunny's performance. Priest said Miz was trying to save face, but reminded him that Bad Bunny did in fact beat him. Miz reminded Priest that of his past WrestleMania success and challenges him to a match. Morrison said he wanted to do it. They argue until Maurice tells them they could both beat him up, and then we go into a 2-on-1 handicap match. This match goes just about 5.5 minutes. which was too long. Miz and Morrison wear their street clothes because they didn't have time to prepare for the match they challenged for. Priest gives Morrison his finisher. Miz tags himself in. Miz tries hitting skull crushing finale. Priest blocks it and hits the lights out. Maurice makes the save for her husband. Priest rips Miz's pants off so we could see his underwear for some wannabe comedy that appeals to a 75-year-old man. Anyway, Maurice gets on the apron. Priest politely asks her to get down. Miz uses the opportunity to apply a schoolboy pin of doom. Miz trips over his pants on the ramp, which I guess is a planned supposed comedy spot. They don't understand the concept of comedy. Patrick is in the back. He asks Jax about Rose and Brooke. They are a replay of what happened, and then Jax asks if the replay is necessary since it's from about half hour ago. And of course the answer is yes, because A, we think the fans have a short attention span, and B, we don't know how to fill time with compelling first run content. Tag Team Championship, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke via countout in a non-title match. Why is it non-title if we're not going to actually do a finish? They go about 4.5 minutes. Jax trips over the rope as she enters the ring before the match, and this leads Rose and Brooke to laugh at her. During the match, Jax tosses Rose in the ring, slips again, so basically we're making fun of tripping. Hopefully no one in real life ever has, a stutter step and falls and breaks their leg, because we might get 20 years of comedy out of this. Rose bails up the ramp, and then they willingly let them know that they'd be counted out. They could be heard saying this isn't worth it. Graves is baffled. This makes no sense. There's a recap of the Lashley McIntyre match. Anyway, so we open the third hour with Bobby Lashley giving the almighty address. MVP's in the ring alone. He explained that Lashley isn't there because Lashley felt disrespected and he didn't want to experience this any longer. He put McIntyre over as a warrior, but he took the eyes off the prize and cost himself. MVP said it's a matter of time until Lashley applied the Hurt Lock and wondered how much pain McIntyre was in today. McIntyre interrupts. He said MVP had no idea how he felt. He said it could have come down to a Claymore kick or the Hurt Lock, but he admitted being caught. He noted that he's proud of MVP and wanted him to keep milking Lashley for everything he's worth, and he wanted Lashley and his head to be as big as possible so that he could knock him off his pedestal. Braun Strowman interrupts because of course he does. He told McIntyre to step back in line. Randy Orton comes out next because we just do predictable junk at this point. He says that the Fiend Alexa Bliss should finish. However, Bliss was here earlier, so how she's finished, I don't know. He wants to be champion again for the 15th, 16th, 17th time, whatever it is. Adam Pearce enters. He said he's making great points. Tonight there would be a triple threat match, and the winner would face Lashley for the title at WrestleMania Backlash. Why it's not just Backlash anymore, we don't know. It was a commercial for a Steve Austin documentary on A&E eventually within the next little while. This is the most compelling thing of the day, a commercial that lasts about 37 seconds. McIntyre and Strowman argue in the back over who would win tonight, and Elias and Jackson Ryker are in the ring. Elias' song dedicated to Shane McMahon plays his guitar, but Xavier Woods' trombone played, and New Day comes out. Kofi Kingston said they shouldn't be apologizing to Shane. They shouldn't be apologizing to the rest of the tag division They should be apologizing for getting their tails whooped by one man at Mania. Woods said they would never show their faces again if this happened to them. New Day shamed them. And then Elias reminds them that they were beat up by one man almost and lost the tag team titles. Kingston references DMX and says that they plan to show what a real tag team looks like. At this point, I don't find that compelling. Anyway, Kingston and Xavier Woods defeats Elias and Jackson Ryker at 10 minutes just over 10 minutes. I don't know why this needed to go so long. Oh, yeah, I do, because we don't know how to write compelling television. Kingston and Woods hit flip dives. That leads to a break at less than 30 seconds into the match. Match continues about 3 or 4 minutes later. Elias holds Woods in a submission style hold, otherwise known as a rest hold, and they play some sort of background stuff. They beat up Woods until Kingston makes a hot tag and then takes down Elias with some strikes and a leg drop. Woods takes out Riker on the outside. New Day follows with a daybreak on Elias for the pinfall. Woods gets the pin. Orton said that he would win tonight after strikes with an RKO. Firefly Funhouse. Bray is in his sweater and welcomed us back to the Funhouse. Rabbit said it would be lonely without her. Wyatt said they'd always have each other. Wyatt felt reborn and everything would be fine because he will return. He smiles and waves. So basically, they've split up Alexa Bliss and Bray Wyatt for no good reason. Triple threat match, 11 and a quarter minutes. Drew McIntyre defeating Braun Strowman and Randy Orton for a rematch at the Backlash Network per-view, or Peacock per-view, or P-per-view. Anyway, McIntyre and Orton work together early. They suplex Strowman. Strowman pops up as though it's nothing, tackles them, runs around the ring. McIntyre smashes him in the face with the steps. Orton hits a backdrop onto the table. Then we go to a commercial break, less than a minute and a half into the match. Nothing happens during the break, apparently, because, well, nobody bothered to tell us if it did. McIntyre hits Orton with a clothesline and some suplexes. Strowman runs him over with a boot. Strowman runs at Orton and runs into a neck breaker by McIntyre. Orton and McIntyre fight on the outside of the ring, and then Orton throws him over the announce desk. Strowman runs over Orton, nails both men with the steps. I guess the steps are the most important part of this match. Strowman enters the ring. Orton cuts him off with a draping DDT. Orton hits Strowman with an RKO. McIntyre breaks up the cover, gives Orton a Claymore. McIntyre pins Orton to become the number one contender. Fine finish. After the match, MVP enters the stage area. Double choke slam by T-Bar and Mace, wearing Retribution gear, and MVP is smiling on. So apparently MVP has kind of reformed Retribution, probably under a different name, because we need to rehash an angle that's not even 6 months old and done yet. Anyhow, there's your Raw review. 20 minutes into a review for a 3-hour show of utter trash. Mania was good. This was not. Until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.